Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Bubbles and Berries podcast. My name is Ode and I'm coming to you from Edinburgh in Scotland, where I live with my husband and our 3 cats. This is my knitting podcast. Well, actually it's more of a multi-craft podcast at this point, where I usually talk about knitting and sometimes sewing and sometimes embroidery as well. Welcome back if you're a returning viewer. It's really nice to see you. And if you're a new viewer, then welcome. I hope you enjoy this podcast. I feel like it's been a little while since I recorded, although I think it's just maybe like a month, which is not that long actually. It just feels long. But anyway, you can find me on Instagram as Bubbles and Berries and on Ravelry as Bubbles and Berries. I'm not really active on Ravelry. I just use it to keep project pages and to browse through patterns. But I'm more active on Instagram, so if you ever want to get in touch, Instagram is good. I also have an email, and I'm going to link everything down in the description box below. Ways to contact me, and also everything that I talk about is going to be linked below. It's kind of dark and gloomy today, so I have to have the light on overhead, which is not ideal, but I think it's just going to be a gloomy day, so we're gonna have to do with it. It'll be fine. I think my phone is usually okay at adjusting to darkness and brightness, so we'll manage. You know, it's still winter. It's kind of spring, but still winter. So anyway, let's get started, shall we? I have some knitting for you today and some embroidery. I don't have any sewing because I haven't been sewing. But yeah, so let's start with knitting and my finished objects. And the first one is one that I'm wearing. I'm gonna try and get up a little bit so you can see. So this is my Felix pullover. I showed it in my previous podcast. I was knitting on it at the time. I can't really remember where I was. I think I was nearly done with the body probably, and then I had to do the sleeves still, but yeah, it's been done for a couple of weeks now, a bit more, and it's been worn a lot. I really like the fit. Like, it turned out perfectly. The length of the body, the length of the sleeves, it was just absolutely perfect. It's yeah, I really like it. I like the color, I like the fit. It just goes with a lot of things in my wardrobe, so I've just been wearing it a lot. So the pattern, like I said, is the Felix pullover. It is by a designer called Amy Christophers. I think she goes by Savory Knitting on Instagram. It's a very easy pattern. I can't remember the size inclusivity. I think it's fairly size inclusive, and also the way she does, like the way she goes from one size to the next, basically it's just, so it's a raglan sweater, and the raglan increases have a bit of like an eyelet situation like this, which looks really nice. And the way she goes from like one size to the next is basically by adding or removing eyelets like this. So I think even if you needed to make it larger than what is included in the pattern, then it would be easily doable. Not that that's ideal. Ideally, like, patterns cater for all sizes, but this one is one that would be easily adjustable, I would say. I would say it's also very beginner friendly if you are just getting into garment knitting, or it's your first, like, you want to knit a sweater and you're looking for an easy pattern. That's definitely one that would tick those boxes, I think. And yeah, it's just been really fun. So I knit the size 2. I think I mentioned it in the previous episode, where I started off knitting the first size because it's meant to have quite a bit of positive ease and a bit more than I usually like for my sweaters. And so I decided to do size 1 and figured that it would have a bit less positive ease than the pattern called for, and that would be nice for me. That would be what I wanted. But it turned out that when I got to dividing for the sleeve and the body, because it's top down, it was just too tight, like under my arm. It was like coming really up and really, I didn't like it. It wasn't good. I guess also because my gauge was probably off a little bit. I did swatch and I got stitch gauge. That was fine, but row gauge was a bit off, which it often is for me. I don't know if that's the case for a lot of people, but I can fairly easily get the right gauge, like stitch wise, but my row gauge is often off, and I don't really know how to tweak that, because if I change needle sizes, then my stitch gauge is going to be off. So usually I just knit things a bit longer. But anyway, so I did like most of the yoke, or like the top part here, on the size 1, and then tried it on and realized that that was going to be a bit too small, and so I carried on, switched to the size 2, and then yeah, continued knitting the size 2. The ease is actually just fine. Like this is, I guess this is what you have here. So it's just fine, and the length, obviously you just do whatever length you want, right? You stop whenever you want, and patterns always tell you like knit for so long, or like whatever length you want minus however inches or centimeters that would be for ribbing. So it's very easy to adjust. So this is what I did. Yeah, I think I did just a long tail cast on, or like a German twisted cast on for the neck. I don't think the pattern specifies a specific cast on, it just says like do whatever you like. And then for bind off on the body and the cuffs, I did the tubular bind off, which is my favorite. I think it looks really nice. It does take a bit of time, but I think it looks really nice. It's a good amount of stretch. So yeah, this is what I did. And then for the yarn, I used Blacker Yarns, which is a yarn that I like a lot. I actually got this one on a D-stash, but I really, really like it. And so it's the Blacker Yarn Tour. It's a British yarn. This is the label. It's an Aran weight, which is what the pattern called for. I think some people have made this out of Aubépine, I think, which is also an Aran weight. I think that's what the designer used for her sample. But yeah, it's quite nice because it's knit on like I knit it on 6mm needles, which I think is also what the pattern calls for. So it actually knits up very quickly, or fairly quickly. And yeah, so Blacker Yarns Tour, and then the shade is called 13th Birthday. So I'm thinking it was a special edition. It's like a dark teal. They have similar colors on their website now anyway, if you're interested. But yeah, it was really fun to knit. It was really quick to knit, and I really like it. I don't know that I will make another one, because I don't think I like knitting the same pattern again. But I might do, there's a cardigan version, and I might make this one, because it's just an easy simple pattern that just goes with everything. So I might make the jumper. So yeah, that's my first finished object for today. I have another finished object, and that is a pair of socks. So if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen that Zakami Yarns, who's like their yarn dyers based in Edinburgh, just launched new bases for socks, nylon-free bases. And so they have 2, I believe. One is superwash merino and silk, and then the other one is non-superwash Corriedale, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I go to the same knit night as they do, and so Melinda, who's one of the dyers behind Zakami Yarns, asked me and some other friends if we would try out the new yarn and also knit up one socks, so that she would have a sample to use for pictures and things for her website and Instagram. So obviously we said yes. And so I picked the superwash merino and silk base, and I knit these socks. So it was a sock set, and so this is what it looks like. I picked the one on DK, but they also have it on fingering weight. So that's the sock. I think the colorway didn't have a name when I first got the yarn, but I think now they've named it Cygnet, because it looks like the baby swans, like the sort of, when they're a bit like more like gray and white when they haven't got their full on white feathers yet. So yeah, so that's what it is. So I have the 2 socks, and then sorry, I was very excited to try the new yarn, and so I cast on right away, not remembering that a 20-gram mini is not quite enough on DK weight to do cuffs, heels, and toes on both socks, especially I think if you do a heel flap and gusset for your heel, which is what I do. I think if you do like another heel that uses less yarn, then you'd be fine, but I do the heel flap and gusset. So anyway, I was so excited that I cast on right away. I cast on the first sock and I did the cuff, and then I just like knit and then did my heel and knit and did the toe, and then I got to the toe and I was like, oh, I don't really have a lot of that mini left. I don't think I'm gonna have enough. And I was right, because I weighed it at this point and I had 7 grams left out of 20 grams, so definitely not enough. But you know, it's socks, it's fine. They don't need to match, it's okay. So for the second sock, I did just the heel and the toe in the contrasting mini, and then yeah, I did the rest of the sock just with the main skein, and I'm really happy with them. Like they're cousins, they're not sisters, and that's completely fine. So this is what they look like. The yarn is extremely soft. I haven't blocked them yet, I just have them on blockers to show you, because I went to Knit Nut last night and got my first sock back from Melinda. So I'm gonna wash them now, see how that works. But yeah, they're extremely soft, as you can guess. Like, it's got silk in it instead of nylon, so that makes it quite soft, and I think that's gonna make it quite sturdy as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how they wear. I don't think I'm maybe not the best tester of like durability or something of a yarn, because I don't usually wear my socks in boots, especially DK socks, because they feel they're a bit too thick, and so I feel like I'm wearing shoes that are too small. So I usually, and I'm not that cold like when I go out on my feet or anything, so I wear my socks inside and like at home. So obviously, because they're not worn in boots or anything, they don't wear that quickly. But I mean, I have other pairs of like regular like merino and nylon socks that I've had for a while, and they've slightly felted under the heel, so I'm sure this will happen to them too, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. But yeah, I think maybe other people will tell you how they work better if they actually wear them in boots and everything. But yeah, they're incredibly soft, they're really warm, and they're really beautiful. And some other friends tried out the Corriedale base and they really liked it as well. It's also extremely soft, 100% Corriedale. So yeah, it's nice. I feel like there's more dyers now and more people interested in in plastic free, nylon free, and even non-superwash sock yarn, which I think is really cool. It's cool to have all the options, you know, and I guess dyers and yarn maker, I don't know, people who make the yarn respond to that and create new bases, and I think it's nice that there's a little bit of everything for everybody. So yeah, anyway, those are my socks. I mean, I knit them the way I knit all my socks. So for DK yarn, I use 3.5mm needles. I always use my 9-inch circulars for socks, and then I do a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset with the little garter edge here, and then I do the round toe where you don't decrease just on like on either side of the toes, and then Kitchener at the end you decrease like all around, and then tie the end in like you would do for a hat. And yeah, so that's my second finished object. I'm very happy with those. Very soft, and I've actually bought some more yarn in their fingering weight but the same base to make another pair for me. And I was knitting on this when my mom came like a couple of weeks ago, and she thought they were like so nice and so soft, so I'll make her a pair too, but fingering weight, because she actually wears hers in shoes. So yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling about those socks now and move on. Oh no, actually one last thing. So I have I think that's about 35 or 36 grams of the main skein left. So it's DK. and I don't know what to do with it. It feels like it's a decent amount of yarn. It's not like a tiny, like 5 grams or something that's left sometimes at the end of a project. And I was thinking maybe of doing like a headband or something, but the patterns that I saw, I didn't have enough. Like they say you needed at least like 50 grams or something. So I don't know, like if you have an idea of what to do with about like 35 grams of DK yarn, can you let me know in the comments below? That would be really, really helpful, because it's really nice, it's really soft, and I'd like to do something with it. Possibly for me, because I could do like a baby thing, but I don't know, I think it's like hand wash and everything, like it's not, I don't think this is the best yarn for a baby accessory or something, just because of how it needs to be cared for. But yeah, let me know if you have any ideas. I'd love to hear them. All right, so that's all the finished objects that I have for today. I'm going to move on to whips, works in progress. So the first one is in this bag, and this is not one of my bags. This is a bag that I actually bought, I think, before I was making bags myself, and it's by Tea Cake Makes. She's a lovely bag maker based in the UK who makes a lot of lovely bags. I have a lot of those. That's basically the place where I used to buy bags before I started making bags myself, and now I have all my samples, so I don't need any more bags. But I really like hers, like they're really nice and really sturdy. And in it I am, hold on, let me get this out. I have a pair of socks, another pair of socks, also DK socks. And so the story behind this, I'll show it to you in a minute, but the story is that last year in November, December, my plan was to knit up all of my Christmas sock yarn. So I have, let me see, I have like 4 or 5 skeins of Christmas sock yarn that are in shades of like greens and red. And my goal was to knit them all up around last Christmas, and then so that this year in 2022 in December I could start fresh and get 1 pair or 1 skein, knit 1 pair, and then every year I would knit myself 1 pair of Christmas socks in December. But then November and December were crazy with COVID and Christmas and gift knits and everything, and so I didn't have time to do any Christmas sock knitting. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna do it now. And this year, one of my goals is to knit all my Christmas sock yarn into socks, so that in December I can buy 1 skein and knit it through December. And I'm going to do all of them in DK, all of them vanilla socks. And yeah, I'll have lots of Christmas socks for Christmas, for December. So this is the first pair then that I'm knitting this year. And it's not done yet. So I have, on the first stock, I have this much done, so I need to do like maybe another 10 rows or something of the foot, and then I can do the toe. And then on the other sock I just finished, like I'm on the gusset decreases basically. So yeah, so the yarn is by Mothy and the Squid, I think. I'm gonna get the label for you, the tag. Yeah, so this is the tag, and it is the shade is called Poinsettia, which I think it actually really, like, it works really well. Like, that's definitely the colors of a poinsettia that you get at Christmas. Really like it. It's their DK base, 75% merino, 25% nylon superwash, and it got 224 meters per 100 grams. So yeah, it's DK yarn. And like the one before, I'm knitting it on 3.5 millimeters, small circulars. And yeah, they just knit up so fast, because I think I started this, when did I start this? I think on Monday. Today is Friday morning. So I think I started those on Monday, because I finished my other socks, and then my other whip, I will show you in a minute, is one that requires a lot of concentration. So I wanted something easy on the side for, like, for example, when I went to knit night last night, I didn't think I could bring my other whip, because I had to focus too much, and the pattern is in a book, and so I need to bring the book and like take up a lot of space on the table and everything. That was not very convenient. So I have this sock, which is good because I also want to knit it up and use all my Christmas yarn. So yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about it. Same heel, same toe, same everything. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to finishing this. I think I'll finish this sock today for sure. And then I have another project that I really want to swatch for, and I'll show you in a minute. And so while this swatch dries over the next like day or whatever, I'll finish the other one, and then I could move on to the next pair of Christmas socks. So yeah, this is whip number 1. That's soon going to be done. And then whip number 2, and I'm really, really excited about this one. I'm really enjoying knitting on it. And it is let me get the pattern from the book. So it's from this book, the Shetland Wool Week Annual from this year, from 2021. And I am making the Farag, I don't know how you pronounce it, cardigan by Elizabeth Johnston. And this is what it looks like. And I really, really like it. I think it's beautiful. I think this is one of the first pictures, I guess, they released when they started talking about their book. And I immediately knew that I wanted to buy the book because of this pattern. And there's other patterns in it that I want to make, but it was like really this pattern that drew me to that. And so it's a really nice cardigan, but it requires, as you can probably guess from the picture, it does require attention because you have cables and you have lace, and it's a cardigan, so it's knitted flat. So you also have quite a fair amount of purling and all of this, but it is really, really beautiful, and it's so much fun to knit. I haven't really done bottom up garments before, so I was a bit like worried or whatever, but it just like, I really enjoyed the process, which I wasn't expecting. I didn't think I would hate it, but I thought I would just enjoy it fine like any other knit. But this one, I'm really like always looking forward to starting knitting on it, and if I don't knit on it one day, I miss it. And yeah, I really like it. I think I've said that a million times. And so the pattern is brilliant because it comes in, like, you have a lot of options. So you have the one that I just showed you, which is what I'm making. I'm going to show you my progress in a minute, which is short sleeved. And then you also have the options of doing it long sleeves. And then you can also do it using fingering weight yarn or using DK weight yarn. Like, there's instructions for both kinds, which is really cool. And so the recommended yarns are either Jamieson and Smith, so that's the fingering weight version. And then the other one is Jamieson's of Shetland. And that's what they used for the DK version, although it says that like it's about 300 meters per 100 grams, so to me that's more like a sport. But anyway, you have the option. It comes in 9 sizes, which I think is also really nice. Like the largest size is 160 centimeters in like chest circumference, so I think that's pretty good. And yeah, it's like the instructions are really well written, and there's also a chart, and it is going to be a bit of a like longer project than just something like this sweater that you knit in the round and don't need to think or anything, but it is a very enjoyable project. And so this is where I'm at. So I've been knitting on it for about a week and a half, or a week and a half, I guess. I don't really know. And yeah, so it's bottom up, like I said, so that's the back. Maybe I should show you the right side. So you knit flat, starting with the rib at the bottom, and then you have, so I think I've done about one one repeat of the pattern now, and I think I need to do like 2 or 2.5 or something like that for before doing the sleeves. But it's so nice. So yeah, you've got some cables here, very easy cable, like nothing fancy, and then you've got the lace here, which I think she says is like the fern lace pattern in like Shetland or lace knitting, and I think Farag means fern in Gaelic or Scots. I don't know. The designer herself lives in Shetland, and yeah, it's just like, it's so nice to knit. It's so much fun, and like I still knit on it in front of the TV. That's not a problem, but like it's not like I'm focused 100% on the TV and then my hands are doing the knitting. Like I do check the pattern fairly often, but like each row is quite easy to memorize. So once you've done like one repeat of like one bit like this, then you can easily remember and just keep going like all the way along until you've reached the end. And then when you come back, like it's just purling on the way back. So it's not, that's a bit more mindless, I guess. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to finish this, but also I don't want to finish it too soon because I want to keep knitting on it. Yeah, I think I'm doing the second size, which is just fine for like what I want. I'm not planning to do any modifications because I think there's a very comprehensive list of measurement for like chest and length and like arm circumference and everything, and all of this looks fine to me. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this, and I am knitting it out of Iona Wool, which I talked about I think in my first episode or something, because I had just gotten back from Iona, where I went a little bit on vacation over the summer. So Iona, if you don't know, is a small island off of the west coast of Scotland. It's a really beautiful place. They have like, it's a small island and they have a few sheep, and so they sell the yarn on cones or on like as skeins, and so that's fun for us knitters. But also just the place, like the space itself is so beautiful. The island, the nature, the water is like, it looks like you're in the Caribbean somewhere, because they have, for some reason, there's white sand beaches on that island, and so the water looks so blue, and it's just like, it's beautiful. Like, we were on vacation in that area, so we spent, like, my husband and I spent a day on Iona, but I could easily spend the whole summer there probably and be very happy. And yeah, it was a great surprise when I saw that they had yarn. I didn't know, I wasn't expecting it, and I just love it so much. So this is what the label looks like. It's called Iona Wool. Iona Wool. And they have several breeds of sheep, and so several colors of sheep as well. And so I got their silver one, which is their natural undyed one, and then they have others that they dye. And so yeah, it's silver because it's great, because they use fleece from sheep of different colors, like dark and white sheep. I got the one in DK, but it also comes in fingering weight and Aran weight. And I originally bought 2 skeins of the DK weight. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I bought 2 skeins, and then I saw this pattern in this book, and I was like, this is going to be perfect with this yarn. The thing is, I needed 3 skeins, and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? I don't know that I can find it and whatever. And so I looked at the website, and thankfully they still had some, because the way they do it, if you look at the label on mine, it says in the back IW3, and that means that like that's for a specific year, and they spin and dye the yarn like once a year, and then that's it. And so the next year you have a different batch. And I bought a cone later on that says IW5, so a more recent one, and it is great, but it's not exactly the same one. So I knew that I needed to find an IW3 skein, and thankfully they still had some on their online shop, so I was able to order another skein, and now I'll have more than enough yarn to finish this. which I'm really excited about because I really like it. It's really nice. Yeah, I love this yarn so much. It smells so strong, but in a good way, like it's not unpleasant, but it smells like I have to wash my hands after I'm done knitting with it because my hands are going to smell like a sheep, which I don't mind, but I don't want to touch everything or touch my food or whatever with my hands. Like I feel like maybe it has still a bit of oil on it, like spinning oil or something. I don't really know, but yeah, it's just wonderful yarn. I love it. I really love it. I might get a cone of their natural, like they have another like natural cream one where they only use the like white sheep for it, so I might get another one. But yeah, so the DK one that I got is 240 meters per 100 grams, which is like a normal DK, I would say. And so it's thicker than the yarn used to make the DK version of the pattern that I'm currently knitting, and which I thought would work well for me because being a tight knitter, my gauge is always off. So if I, instead of going, like changing my needle size, if I use a yarn that's a bit thicker, usually it resolves my problem. And I think the pattern calls for 4.5 millimeter needles, and I swatched with this thicker yarn and 4 millimeter needles and 4.5, and it turned out that 4 millimeter got me the perfect gauge, which is the first time it's happened to me ever in my life. Not that I've been knitting a very long time, but where it's the first time where both row gauge and stitch gauge is good. So I'm really happy with that. Also the yarn, I did a swatch, and where's my swatch? Oh. And it doesn't move when you wash it. It fluffs up so much. It becomes so soft, but it doesn't move. Like your stitch and row gauges are still the same. So yeah, this is what the swatch looks like. And you can see it's got like a really nice drape, and I mean, obviously you can't touch it through the screen, but it's really soft. I'll see if I can wear it, like, I think it's gonna be a bit like scratchy if I wear it around my, like near my neck, but probably on my arms and everything, it'll be fine. It's very rustic wool, obviously, but quite soft, kind of like Jameson and Smith, I would say. So yeah, that's the Fairy cardigan, which I'm doing in the short sleeve version in DK, and I'm really happy about it, really excited. I really absolutely love knitting on it. And like I said, yeah, I can't wait to wear it, but also I don't want to stop knitting on it, so I don't want it to be done just yet. And I really wanted, another little thing is that I really wanted to use the buttons that that the designer uses on the pattern. I'm going to show them to you. Because I think they look really nice. Let me see if you can see them. I hope you can see them. I can't really tell. They're like silver, like sort of like old silver, like little spiral. They look like seashells almost. And I really want to use those. And so it doesn't say anything on the book where the buttons came from. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna see if I can message the designer. And I did, and she replied right away, which was so nice of her, and told me where I could find the buttons. And she also posted it on her Instagram. And it looks like right now they're sold out, but I think I'm going to message the woman who sells the button and see if she's going to get any more in stock. And if not, I might just get some other from her shop, because she has amazing buttons. And the shop is called Textile Garden, and it's a little shop located in the very south of England, of the UK. And yeah, she's got lots and lots of buttons. So I'll put her link down below if you're just looking for buttons. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for this second whip. I don't know that it will be done by the next time I film. I hope so, but I'm not rushing on it at all. So yeah, we'll see. All right, so like I said, I had a bit of embroidery to talk about today, but I think first I'm gonna I have a couple of yarn acquisition that I wanted to share with you, so I think I'll do that, and then I'll move on to embroidery. So the first acquisition is this, this beautiful red yarn. The story behind this is actually that I ordered those in October or November. It's from Dererum Natura. It's like the French brand. I think their most popular yarn is like Gilliat, we would say, I think in French, which is a DK, and a lot of designers use it. It's very nice yarn. But anyway, they're a French company, and because originally my family was supposed to come at Christmas, I placed an order in the fall and had it delivered to them, and then the idea was that they would bring it back to me in their suitcase, but they didn't come at Christmas. Instead, they came a couple of weeks ago, and so that's when I got the yarn. So it's not a new acquisition, I just actually got it just now. And so what it is so 100% wool, and it's merino wool. It's really nice, non-superwash, really nice, really bouncy. And I got their base called Cyrano, and that is their sort of like worsted Aran weight base. I think it's their thicker base. It says to use on 4 or 6 millimeter needles, and then the gauge is 13 to 15 stitches per 10 centimeters. So it's quite thick. And I have and the color for this one is called Aubépine, which I think is rose hip in English. It's like a nice dark red, and it's got a bit of like black in it, almost as if some of the fiber was on the base was black, and so it has a bit of depth in that way. And sorry, I've got fluff in my nose. And yeah, so I'd ordered 6, I have it just behind the camera. Yeah, 6 balls of this, and the idea was to make the visiting cardigan. I'll put a picture up here. That is in one of the latest Lena magazine issues. So I think that's still the plan for now. I might change my mind, that happens a lot, but yeah, that's the plan. I don't know when I'm going to cast on. To me, a deep red like that is more of a wintry color, so even if I cast on right now, I don't know that I would wear it right away. So it might be something for the fall, or maybe like next January, or I don't know. But that is one acquisition that finally made its way to me after like being ordered 6 months ago. So I've got that, and then the second acquisition that I have is actually 2, but I'm going to knit them together, so I'm going to show them to you together. And so it's this cone from Woolly Knit, and we all know who's responsible for me buying this cone. So I bought this cone to take part in the cone along that Rebecca from the Create Bear podcast is hosting. I think the cone along is going on for another month, or like until the end of the month. And so she did a collaboration with Woolly Knit, and you could get cones, and she had a discount code, which I think is still valid until sometime next week if you want to check it out, like check out her podcast or her Instagram. And the idea was of the cone along that she's hosting is just to knit from a cone. I don't think you need to have your item finished by the end of the knit along, but you just knit from a cone, either from a Woolly Knit cone or Woolly Knit yarn, or from any other cone that you might have. So yeah, so I got myself this cone. It's British wool, 500 grams, and I think it's fingering weight, and I think they say it's like 2,300 meters, something like that. And so my plan is to hold that double. Where's the label? To hold that double. It's a nice dark navy, like just like a solid color. To hold this double and then add this as a third strand to make a jumper. So I'm going to tell you which jumper in a minute, but I'll show you this yarn first. So this is Zakami Yarn in their shade Midori, and it's lace. And it is made of 50% baby story alpaca, 20% silk, and 30% extra fine merino. And there's 1,200 meters per 100 grams. So I think if I hold this double to make a DK, that means I would have 1,200 meters of DK, because it's like about 2,400 meters of fingering weight, and then I have the same length of this, which is lace. So I think if I hold this all three together, it will get me like a heavy DK to like Aran weight or worsted. I never know which one is thicker, if it's worsted or Aran, but yeah, a little bit over a DK weight, which is exactly what I need to make the drop sweater by Iona McLaughlin. I think that's how you say her last name. I will put a picture here, and it's one of her newest pattern, and it is so nice. I love her patterns. I think they all look very nice. I think she's an absolute genius when it comes to writing and construction. The size range is always good, and there's always so many options in one single pattern. So yeah, I saw this and I was like, I want to make this. It's so nice. It's going to be plain stockinette, so it's going to be easy to knit, and I have the perfect yarn for it. So I'm going to hold these two together. It's going to make it a bit of a marled effect. I'm also quite excited to knit with that because I haven't knit with like a lace weight yarn that is not like a mohair, you know, like that is sort of just a lace. And I haven't done like 3 strands or like, yeah, 3 strands held together, but I don't think that's going to be very complicated. So yeah, I'm really, this is really soft, and I think it's going to look very nice together. So I'm going to make a swatch this afternoon. And like I said, for the pattern, Iona often has several options. So for this one, it's a plain stockinette drop shoulder jumper. I think it's knit top down, but then you have the option of either having like a crew neck or a bit of like a higher neck, like a mock turtleneck, like not one that you fold over, but one that comes up a bit higher. And then there's an option with a hood. And I want to make the one with just a crew neck, the simple one, because I think that's what I would wear the most. And it says in the pattern that for the size that I think I'm gonna make, I need 1200 meters of yarn, which is exactly what I have, but that's the only information that there is. So I'm thinking that 1200 meters is the yarn that you need to make the version that would use the most yarn. So I'm thinking the one with the hood. So because I'm not doing that, I think I will have more than enough yarn. I don't think that will be a problem at all. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So this is my plan for this afternoon, is to wind all of this up into cakes and then swatch. And then as soon as the swatch is good, then I will start knitting on it. Yeah, really excited. I'm really excited. And also that will be, because once I'm done with those socks, I would only have my gray cardigan on the needles, which requires quite a bit of attention. So it'll be nice to have another, even though it's a jumper, it will be a mindless project once I get to like sort of joining in the round and doing like sort of the shaping at the shoulders, which is at the very beginning. So it will be quite a mindless jumper, and it'll be nice to be able to alternate depending and have options depending on how much brain space I have. So yeah, that was my second acquisition. Let me just put this back. And so yeah, that's all the knitting content that I have for you today. I am going to move on to embroidery, so that if embroidery is not something you're interested in, then that's completely fine, and thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. But if you're curious about embroidery, or if you're interested, or if you do it yourself, then yeah, I'm going to show you some of the things that I've made. So like I said, in my last episode, I was working on creating embroidery patterns, and they're done, they're ready. It took me like a whole month of like figuring things out and designing a few things and embroidering it myself and figuring out how to write instructions. But they're done now, and I'm really happy with it. So I'm gonna show you, I created 3 designs. I'm gonna show them to you. So this is what they are. So this is the first one that I created. It's called Spring Wellies. And I really like this one. The second one is this. It's called, Fluff. It's called Springtime on the Line. I actually did a little poll on Instagram and asked people for help naming this one because I couldn't figure out a name. And yeah, that was really fun. Some really fun ideas. And then the third one that I have is called Spring Bouquet. And so yeah, I hope you can see fine because it's really dark, but yeah. And so I drew these and embroidered them and wrote out the instructions, and yeah, they're now available in my Etsy shop as both PDF patterns. So if you get a PDF pattern, you just get, it's like a digital instant download thingy that they do on Etsy. So you just get, it's a little booklet that contains all what, like everything that you need to know to create the pattern, and like a list of supplies that you need to get, and like the outline and everything. And then they also are available as kits, so embroidery kits that contain this like something that I ship to you. I actually ship something to you with like all like thread and the fabric and the hoop and everything that you need to know that you need to have to make it yourself. So yeah, it's been really, really fun. I think this one is my favorite if I have to choose one, but I really like them all. And it's been a lot of fun creating those. I really like drawing, and I really like embroidering afterwards, and like figuring out how to write instructions in a clear way was really fun too. I think all of these are fine for beginner embroiderer, I guess, beginner stitchers. It's not difficult. Embroidery, I don't think, is difficult. It's just like it takes a bit of time, especially when you first learn to like learn the stitches, but it's really not difficult. And yeah, I don't remember what I was gonna say. I just lost my train of thoughts. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. They're in my Etsy shop now, so if you want to have a look, I've sold a few kits already because I put them up on Wednesday, but there's still a few left, and then I will just like restock them if they run out. That's not really a problem. And yeah, if you're curious what you get if you get a kit, you usually get like the hoop, the fabric, the threads that you need, some needles. What else do you get? You need like get a little like plastic bobbin to wrap your thread around so it doesn't get tangled. And then you get the outline that I print out for you, so the outline of the pattern so you can draw it onto your fabric. And then you get a link to download the instructions. I'm not printing them out and sending them because it feels like a lot of wasted paper, and I know like a lot of people just like to read instructions on their phones or on their iPads or something, and then if they want to the paper one, then they just print it. Like that's how we get knitting patterns, right? Unless we buy an actual book, oftentimes we just get it as a PDF that we download from Ravelry or from somewhere else. So that's, I'm kind of doing the same there. And then if you want, as an extra, you can add a pen to, like a fabric pen, to draw the pattern onto your fabric, like an erasable pen, and then also scissors. And the reason why those two are extras and not included with the kits is just because they're reusable. So it seems a bit silly to send one with every kit. And also it's things that like people are very likely to have at home already. Like if you knit or if you sew, like you will have small scissors and you will have a fabric pen. So it's just, I just added them as like an option so people can choose if they want them or not. So yeah, that's what happened for the embroidery. I need to finish mine because they're not like, I mean the embroidery is finished, but I need to, like the back, I just is like holding it with like small cloth pins right now, so not great. So I need to finish them. I might frame some of them and then I'm gonna hang them on the wall, which you can do too if you get a pattern, but obviously like you can embroider on, I don't know, like a tote bag or a t-shirt or an apron or I don't know, anything you want really. In the future, or like not in the future, but over the next few weeks, my plan is to, with the embroidery and also with my project bags, because many of you who've been watching know that I make project bags like this that I also sell on Etsy. So I sew the project bags and I embroider them like that. And so my plan over the coming few weeks is to, I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to tweak some of the designs that are on some of my project bags to turn them into patterns. So that like this one I would like to turn into a pattern, and a few of the other ones that I have, so that I could release those as patterns, because a few people have asked if I would do that because they would be interested in embroidering them themselves, which is absolutely fine. So I just need to tweak the designs a bit, because they're the ones that I do on my bags are a bit more advanced than quite a bit more advanced than what I do for patterns, and also they involve a lot of like winging it. Like I know what I'm doing because I'm the one doing them, but it would be quite difficult to write down into clear instructions, so I just need to tweak a few things, which is absolutely fine. So that's the plan for the next couple of weeks. And after that, at the end of the month, then I plan to do a shop update for bags, because I haven't done one in a month and a half now, and people have been asking. So at the end of March, I plan to do a shop update for bags, and my goal is that all of my designs will be available for bags as well. So like the new improved version of the ones that I already have, but also these that were designed on hoops but could totally be embroidered on the project bags. So these will also be available on bags for me to, like, I would embroider it and send it to you. So yeah, so at the end of the month, I always post updates about my shop on Instagram, and I will do my best to try and remember to post it in the community tab as well as soon as I have a date for the next shop update. And then we'll go from there. I don't know, we'll see. That's quite a bit of work for now, so yeah, we'll go from there. So that was the short embroidery section of this podcast. And I think that is it. I'm actually quite thirsty. I forgot that I had water. Yeah, that's it. I usually do a bit of a live chat section at the end. I don't know that there's a lot to talk about, to be honest. What happened? Let me think what happened since the last podcast. Well, one thing that happened is that my family was finally able to come and visit, which was really nice. It was really lovely to see them, and we were sort of lucky in that just before they came, restrictions regarding COVID and international travel eased a bit, so it made traveling smoother and easier COVID-wise. On their return trip, they got caught in the storm Eunice, so like flights were cancelled and delayed and everything, but they made it back home. But yeah, we had a nice week. It was busy and a lot more socializing than I've done in like 2 years, obviously, because I haven't seen them in a long time. But it was lovely. We went to like a distillery tour, and we went to visit castles, and we went like for walks, and I don't know, it was really nice to see them. So that's one thing that happened. I'm the one who's going to be traveling to France next. I'm going there mid-April for Easter, which I'm really excited about, because then I will get to see my dad and my grandpa, whom I haven't seen in like over 2 years now. It was my mom and my sister who came this past few weeks, or like a couple weeks ago, with their partners. So I haven't seen my dad in a long time, and I haven't seen my grandpa in a long time. So that will be really nice. And then, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit nervous about getting on a plane and everything. Like I haven't left Scotland since the beginning of COVID, and then like we went on like vacation last year, but it was in Scotland and we just took the train. So I haven't done international travel in a very long time, but I'm sure it'll be just fine. As you can imagine, I'm planning to go with an empty suitcase and coming back with a suitcase full of yarn. I've already told my dad that like he was going to receive packages for me over the next few weeks, and that he shouldn't worry and just like keep them somewhere, and then I'll bring them back with me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then yeah, I guess other than that, over the past month or since I recorded last, I've just been working a lot on the embroidery patterns and launching all of this and figuring out suppliers where I can get all the materials for the kits and the threads and all of this, and then like drawing the patterns and embroidering them, and then writing out instructions and all of this. So that it's been very busy, but you know, it was expected, obviously. And now I think hopefully I will have a bit more time just for designing now that all the sort of like practical bits are sorted. And yeah, I also had quite a lot of work translation and tech editing wise, which is my day job. I'm a knitting pattern translator, and I'm also a knitting pattern tech editor, and I'm self-employed, so I had quite a bit of work, especially the past 10 days, which is nice, you know, when you're self-employed, having a bit of like quite a bit of work is always nice, because everything is always so irregular. You know, I have weeks where I'm very busy, and then I have weeks where I don't have anything, so busy weeks are always welcome. So yeah, that was really nice. And yeah, I think that's it. Spring is definitely around the corner here. We've had like little flowers, like spring flowers, like snowdrops and daffodils and things like that are starting to bloom. The weather and the temperature hasn't changed much, but that's all right. The days are getting longer, which is really nice. Like it doesn't get dark until around 6 now, which is lovely. And yeah, I'm looking forward to spring. I'm looking forward to summer, and the world opening up again. I know a bunch of festivals that usually happen in Edinburgh over the summer are going to be happening again, and they've been cancelled the past 2 years, so that's very exciting. And yeah, just some things to look forward to. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I hope you're doing well. I know things are difficult in the world right now, and yeah, extremely sad and unbelievable and infuriating, and like it's hard. And I hope if you watch this podcast and you're like going through very difficult time, that it allowed you to maybe pause for a little bit and provided you with some distraction and a bit of rest. And yeah, it's hard. Like I know we're all doing everything we can, whether it's like donating or helping out, like however we can, and that's great. And hopefully this will be a short like crisis, not that it makes it any better or any easier on anyone, because it's like I can't even imagine how difficult it must be for so many people. I think I feel extremely lucky and privileged to be like in Scotland, and like my day-to-day life feels safe and nice, and that is not the case for a lot of people. But yeah, hopefully things improve quickly. I really hope that will be the case. So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to like bring down the mood or anything, but yeah, I think it needed to be addressed. And yeah, wherever you are, I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. And thank you very much for watching this podcast. And if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to leave a comment or leave me a message. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and you like this content. That helps us podcasters a lot if you subscribe and if you leave thumbs ups and comments on our videos. And thank you so much to all who have done that already. And I will see you next time. Bye.